Hello again! Today we are going to talk about hepatitis. As you may know, hepatitis is an inflammatory form of the liver. Normally, hepatitis doesn't give any symptom at the beginning, but then it can normally develop to an acute form, which is followed by a chronic form. The chronic form can be followed by cirrhosis, and cirrhosis can develop to an hepatocellular carcinoma. Hepatocellular carcinoma is really dangerous. It normally leads to death. So the first symptoms are subiterus. Subiterus is a yellow-brown color of the sclera and the frenulum. The subiterus is followed by iterus, which is the same color of the whole skin because of bilirubin built up in the skin and in the other tissues. Other symptoms are fever, are weight loss, are, for example, hepatocytes necrosis, of course, and an inflammatory, a lobular inflammatory of the liver, Kupffer cells hyperplasia. Kupffer cells belong to the immune system, so their proliferation means that there is an inflammatory state inside the liver. Other symptoms are, for example, hepatomegaly and, of course, upper right abdominal pain. When hepatitis occurs, some serological exams are altered. For example, there is always the increase of transaminases like ALT and AST, the increasing of bilirubin, the increasing of other enzymes like lactate dehydrogenase, or for example alkaline phosphatase, or for example creatine phosphokinase, and also the increasing of other enzymes that normally are present during inflammatory forms, not only hepatitis but also other forms that induce the cells to die. We distinguish viral causes of hepatitis and non-viral causes of hepatitis. The non-viral causes are represented by bacteria, parasites, toxins, drugs, and autoimmunity. The viral forms are caused by major hepatitis viruses like hepatitis virus type A, B, C, D, and E, and minor hepatitis viruses represented by cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, alpha virus, flavivirus, and other tropical viruses. There are also some viruses that induce hepatic symptoms but without causing hepatitis. These viruses are, for example, Coxsackie viruses, parotitis virus, measles virus, some kinds of alpha herpes viruses, for example. How to cure hepatitis? Well, we don't have a lot of things, a lot of drugs. Of course, we have antiviral drugs, but normally they don't work very well. So the only thing we can do is supportive therapy together with a passive therapy, a passive immunoprophylaxis. It means giving immunoglobulins that can somehow activate and help our immune system. So, as you remember, I already told you that the most important thing is not to prevent our immune system from working properly. So let's talk about hepatitis virus type A first. This virus belongs to Picornaviridae family. We already talked about this family. In this family, as you remember, there are viruses, really small viruses, about 25 to 30 nanometers big. They are naked and they are really strong. They can resist at extreme temperatures, extreme pH values, extreme lack of water conditions. So this virus, hepatitis A virus, has got an incubation of about 2 weeks, but it can also reach 1 month of incubation. It depends on how many viruses the patient gets. This virus is transmitted in a fecal-oral way together with the hepatitis virus type E, while the other hepatitis viruses are always transmitted in a parenteral way, so with the contact with the blood and salivatory contact. The mortality associated with hepatitis A is not so high, is about 0.2%. The virus usually causes a mild acute hepatitis, which almost never develop to a chronic form. More often, it doesn't give any symptom. And what about hepatitis type E? This virus was considered to belong to a Caliciviridae family, but then the scientists decided to put it in another family, whose is the only type of its kind, which is called Hepeviridae. So be careful not to get confused between Hepeviridae and Herpes viridae. They are two different families. Herpes viridae, as you may remember, are divided into alpha herpes virinae, beta herpes virinae, gamma herpes virinae, while in Hepeviridae we only have hepatitis virus type E. It is transmitted in a fecal-oral way, as well as hepatitis A virus, and it's really similar to hepatitis A virus. In fact, it's about 30 nanometers big, so it's really small, it's naked, and it's really strong. The mortality associated with this virus is not so high, is about 0.2%, and the hepatitis E doesn't usually give symptoms, and it can lead to a mild acute form which almost never develop to the chronic form. The mortality is higher in pregnant women. It can reach about 25 to 30%. So the hepatitis E can be dangerous only for pregnant women. We have 4 genotypes of the virus, type 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first 2 types just attack human beings, while the type 3 and 4 can attack also other animals. For example, type 4 can attack pigs, so we have to be careful in the contact with pigs because of this reason. Do you know why the acute hepatitis form can develop to the chronic one, and the chronic one can develop to the hepatocellular carcinoma? Well, because hepatocytes are able to proliferate. There are only a few number of differentiated cells in our body, in the adult body, that are able to proliferate. This is one example, and the reason is that the liver is always gets toxins from the intestinal tract. So it has to be able to purify itself, and the only way is to proliferate, so to kill the infected cells and produce new healthy cells. So the fact that these cells are able to proliferate, together with the fact that viral genes that interfere with the cell cycle can be expressed, together with chromosomal aberrations owing to the fact that the hepatitis proliferate in an abnormal way, everything can lead to the development of the cancer. Since the liver is one of the most important organs in our body, if it doesn't work, the patient, the person with this problem, more often goes towards death, because we can't live without liver. The liver, of course, we can live with only some parts of the liver, but the life is always compromised. So I'll see you in the following lesson, where we will be talking about the other types of hepatitis viruses, so hepatitis virus type B, C and D. So see you then, bye!